Do you know what you should be watching? Stranger Things. It's not called Strange Things, but that's what I thought it was called. Stranger Things, pretty good. You agree, Lee?
I agree. Very good.
Very good.
So everybody was talking about Stranger Things, so I had to watch it. I thought I'll just watch like episode 1. We'll talk about it maybe.
And as it is a convenient only 8 episodes long,
I know.
you were able to rip right through it.
That made me think, like, well, because, okay, everyone says, like, oh, it's like Spielbergian, it's like, oh, it feels like E.T., and this kid goes missing, and Winona Ryder's in it, and it's great, you have to watch it. And I'm like, I didn't really love all those old Spielbergian. Like, E.T. is fine, Goonies is fine, like, they're good, but, like, I'm not going back and watching them, over again, and they have this old feel or whatever, and I'm like, I guess, or something like that.
I think you have to throw in and it's rated R.
No,
and that's what makes it...
and it's super dark, and...
Yes, it's gritty.
Right, and, like, started...
And that synthesizer.
Started watching
let it ring.
And said, like, what am I doing for the next 7 hours? I'm doing this. I went and grabbed a watermelon.
Quit my job. Had a watermelon.
Quit my job. Had some watermelon. It was wonderful.
No, from the very jump of this show, and I started watching it. I got home late, and it was like 3 in the morning when I started. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm just watching this.
No, yeah. So like you hear all that stuff about it. You hear like, oh, it's like E.T. or something. And then
I had heard nothing. I watched it the day it came out.
I'm only hearing shit from people like literally the like person on satellite radio who talks for 30 seconds in between every like 20-minute block of music.
We're not talking about between, but Stranger Things.
He said like, you gotta watch this. It's amazing. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get spoiled. There's gonna be tweets and shit. I'm gonna have to watch this because fuck. And I thought, yeah, it's 8 episodes, whatever. We'll watch it, something like that. The opening scene is this crazy doctor in like an elevator getting eaten by like a thing or whatever. Is an awesome thing. We were like, what the fuck was that? I gotta keep watching this. And by the end of that first episode, it is just oozing with that coming of age kids.
No, yeah, I heard, like, from the opening scene to the kids playing D&D, I'm like, oh, these kids are kind of cool, and like they're good actors, and they're, as far as I know, they've been in nothing ever before. In fact, most of the people I've never seen before, and I like that. Winona Ryder, I would even count in that like she's super famous, but she looks different enough, and I don't think I've ever seen her play a mom. That's it was like, nope, she's a separate good thing.
Let's talk about Winona Ryder for a second.
Sure.
I'm a huge fan of
Heathers. He loves Heathers.
Winona, okay, that's a great thing, to say because she was a thing when I was like young. Mm-hmm. Attractive actress, whatever, in a lot of stuff, and then hasn't been in stuff for a while. The only things she's been in are like Family Guy jokes about her being a bad actress and shit like that. So she's the kind of person where like I'm happy to see her get work. And I might watch something if she's in it to like check out how she's doing or whatever. I thought she was great in this.
I'm sure she'll be in Beetlejuice too.
Yeah, but like Beetlejuice. I'm trying to think of like random movies from the thing, but like I thought she was fucking awesome in this. Like you're saying, it's a role she hasn't it's not her usual or like thing or whatever. And yeah, she's not unknown, but she hasn't done stuff in a while, so now she's like the comebacking or whatever. But I'm super impressed.
You weren't watching this going, that's Winona Ryder. Like I get taken out of some movies and I'm like, that's Tom Cruise.
Right.
Tom Cruise couldn't do that. Like
you cast him because he's this.
Yes.
And we're gonna go to the theater to see The Rock.
Exactly.
Or whatever. Yeah.
He was great.
The only other person who I sort of knew was the sheriff.
What is he in? I don't think I know him for anything.
I was like looking at his face, like, who the fuck are? And I just IMDb'd him real quick. I never saw the movie Black Mass. Do you remember that? Johnny Depp, of all people, wearing like weird makeup to look like Whitey Bulger. Thing in the movie.
Okay.
I never saw that movie, but I saw that like their trailer for that movie was this super tense like dinner scene where the sheriff, I think, it would be weird for him to have been in Black Mass but not be that guy. I hope I have the shit right. But he's like, Johnny Depp is like, oh, you gotta tell me this recipe, and he's like, that's a family secret. And he goes, come on, and they go back and forth, and then he like tells him, oh, it's soy sauce and like like ginger or something weird like that or whatever, and then like it's like record scratch. Johnny Depp's like, you said it was a family secret, and he's like, what? And he's like, and he's fucking, he's like, you start talking like that, people go to prison, he starts laying it on really thick, this like crazy tense scene, and he goes, I'm just fucking with you, and the guy's like shitting his pants, and like, and I remember thinking,
and he kills him.
Well, I remember thinking like, that's a cool trailer, Johnny Depp's back, he seems to be acting, and the other guy was really good too, it's probably gonna be like a good movie that I never saw, that I was super into. But in my notes, I named him Sheriff Hot Mess.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Because he wakes up
and
and he's a super hot mess.
The only just to jump forward, spoilers and whatever bullshit.
Yeah, spoilers throughout. We just gave some already, but we're just going to talk generally about the characters and the
most of this movie. I'm a person who finds holes and problems and things, and I had almost no issues with a large chunk of this movie.
Wow.
Except for the sheriff eventually breaks into the place. And he gets in, and I'm not miffed at that. I think that could happen. It's it's a different time. The '80s were less protected, I suppose.
Yeah.
And they had no reason to believe anyone's trying to break in there. But he breaks in, and they sedate him and put him right back in his house like nothing happened. And I was like, I understand they drugged him and made him think that oh, it was all a dream or whatever is their plan, but he's already emotionally disturbed, and I don't think any of that is helping. And then he found the bug. They bugged him after that.
Yeah. No, and that did feel kind of weird in general. The shadow government's actions.
They should vanish you. It shouldn't be
right, because they were clearly not fucking around. They had just shot the fry cook guy.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And
you know too much, boom.
Yeah,
this
Benny's
guy had been in your fucking facility.
Yeah, Benny knew nothing.
Exactly.
He knew a buzz-cutted girl was in his house.
He would have said, "Yeah, that kid sure eats a lot." Anyway, I called somebody. That would have been his story.
Because they could have just picked him up. They could have picked this girl up they were Child Protective Services, and it would have been over.
And scooped away.
So if anyone was going to do something like that, that would have been that.
Yeah.
But then the second issue I have is with the fake body, because
oh god,
it's full of cotton.
Apparently.
So if they have an open casket and the mother touches the kid at all. What? And they wouldn't let her in the room for the autopsy. It was lift the leg, let me see the leg, that's not my kid, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those two things I had an issue with, but not a big enough issue that took me out of the movie.
Sure.
Nothing really could take me out of the movie, and every time that there would be the swells of that synthetic music, I was like, so in. Do whatever you want. And the way that fucking 11 is the name of one of the main characters, she is an experiment by this facility, and she has some mental powers, and whenever she would I was like, yeah, girl, get it.
Yeah. So with this show, and I wonder.
Nosebleed.
Oh, okay. So there's so much to unpack there, because this was like all those old things, but they kept the things the same, but they updated them and made them feel actually it felt realer and more 80s than things did in the 80s, because they were able to do, because you have so much more control now over stuff like the soundtrack and all that shit. And kid with psychic powers is doing blah blah blah, and the nosebleed, the universal sign of brain hurting or something like that. All those same tropes and normal things were present. But totally, I was like, yes, this is how this is. This is great. This is what that looks like. It's perfect.
If they would make Escape from Witch Mountain. Have you seen the original?
Oh, no.
They're aliens and they have psychic powers similar to 11. And if they would recut that with nosebleeds and ear bleeding, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Oh my god. That's one of those things that medical professionals are like, why would you get a nosebleed? But the movie Firestarter with the Drew Barrymore and stuff, his her dad gets the nosebleed too and all that when he's using his powers and all that. That's just that's a thing that's real in movies and has to be in movies and shows and TV shows.
How you don't cock your gun until the last second.
Yeah, why would you be able to a gun? Big lights when they go on go even though they don't make that noise in real life. They make a light noise.
Yeah.
But hey, it works in a thing. So do we want to go through any plot stuff or just keep jumping around?
I think just jumping around let people say how the movie's sweet. So you have interdimensional being. I don't say beings because there appears to be only one, but there has to be more than one because there's slug creatures and things from that dimension. That maybe they grow up to be the other thing, and what is he eating, period, when they're not there?
Right.
Does he require food? Maybe he's just eating because he can?
Because it's fun.
How Superman eats?
So this is so let's save the end for the end, because that last little couple of scenes is so fucking crazy. Or I was like, I'm awake again, what? So there's a whole part in the middle where I was kind of I don't know, I'm just falling asleep.
I didn't have any of those.
But you've already forgotten everything. So
I forgot the whole movie.
Show?
Ooh, it was a show?
It is a show. Yes, you keep saying movie.
It's a movie.
I love you. What the hell was I going to say, though?
You said you lost it.
Okay. No. I was going to say, there's this, test facility in this little town, and the test facility accidentally opens a rift to, the shadow world or whatever, where there's a monster and starts interacting with our world and stealing kids. and eating them / alien impregnating them and all that stuff.
He seems to have like the ability to come out at multiple points, but also at specific points that are addressed as like tunnels into this world. But at other times, like, it seems like just because there's interaction happening between the worlds, he like bursts through.
So yeah, and you know, in a way, I kind of appreciate some of that. Where like I'm not quite clear on like the rules,
and
here.
That's what I kind of like. Yeah. That's what's scary about it.
Yeah, because like in a lot of stuff, you're like, oh, like we know all the rules about the bad guys, and
if I surround myself in a circle of salt, I am safe. And this you were never safe.
You're right, and you know there'd be no googling. Like I found the ancient Sumerian text, and it says selenium. Like there was no weird like, and that's good. That's cool. And I'm not sure. We'll just spoiler alert, I guess, for near the end. I don't know what the hell happened to 11 or why that had to happen or whatever.
If 11 is not back in season 2 unharmed, someone dies.
Pretty much, right? Well, so she was great. She was our E.T. character.
Yeah.
And she could not have been more E.T. unless she was actually riding not behind Mikey, but in the basket of his bike. I thought some of those scenes conjured up some funny things to me.
He was so powerful. Like he was like in the lead most of the time, biking on a fixed gear bike with a person on his seat, like just like it's nothing. I was like, this kid's the man.
Or she actually weighs 20 pounds because she's just a creature or something.
She could have been floating herself on there. But
ooh, maybe she was just pushing.
She could have been pushing. I know.
That's amazing.
No, but she was badass. I liked her. I wanted them to get together. I was rooting for it.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm not one for coming of age shit, but some of that shit was super. I was like that's fucking dope.
Get some.
And like the brother and sister have that interaction while they're suiting up, getting ready for like the final confrontation. Yeah. And it's like, so do you like Jonathan? She's like, oh God, no, not like that. Do you like 11? Oh no, ew, God. And they have this weird
but
like
they
thing.
Both do.
And I'm like, oh, kid, come on, kids, this is great.
It's super good.
That shit's awesome.
So like something I didn't get was like this show takes place in like 1983, and everything about the main character's dad made me go, this is a 60s movie or a 50s movie. Because he's doing everything except like holding a pipe. He's like,
my God.
Now Beaver, you can't just like, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Okay, literally, that was one of my favorite fucking things. In like towards the end, you get like a crane shot of like the mom like consoling Mikey and all that shit, and the dad is like talking to one of the EMTs, being like, just doing some fight. He's just not even near his son at all.
That's what made me think it was like
amazing.
A 50s, 60s movie.
But that's so like something about.
Not that I didn't like it.
It's that thing of like taking the tropes and like updating it, because the mom was kind of like. In a movie where like kids have to investigate paranormal things, the parents are usually like
not there.
They're like they're like oblivious and they're totally ineffectual. But she was like a sassy like Sarah Connor where there was no Terminator, because she was like, whose sweatshirt is that? And like he says
a hair.
Well, he says, like, I don't want to go to school, I feel sick. And she's like, yeah, you're not sick, your friend's dead, you're probably traumatized, but fucking stay home, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And she calls out the dad, where he's like, I hope you're enjoying your chicken, Ted. And he's like, what? And all that shit, because he's
what did I do?
He's like not fucking participating in this tense thing. And honestly, the most reasonable reaction ever, when like a kid goes missing in your town, and she's like, you will come straight home after school. You are not going out. No. And not this weird, like, other reason, and then they have to sneak out. She's just like, no, that's ridiculous. A kid's missing. There could just be, like, a normal murderer out there.
Yeah, it's not like, you didn't clean your room, Billy. You're not going out today. Did you just backsass me? Did you steal your sister's bottle?
Right. They didn't have to make something up. They just took the obvious, reasonable reaction for a parent to have and all that shit.
Yeah.
But even some of those little peppered in things where it's like, oh, he left at like 8, and it's like he drove his bike like across town like after dark or whatever, because like that doesn't happen.
Well, in the 80s, that's not.
That's what I'm saying. In like the 80s, that was totally like acceptable, and everyone just kind of reacted like, oh, he's probably just done a stupid thing or whatever. Like that's cool, because like I kind of grew up more in that time, and I think today with kids, you can't like let them cross the street without.
I think it also depends where you live.
Oh yeah,
like
totally.
They definitely lived in like suburbia, like or not even suburban, like just an IA out in the world.
Well, the cop makes mention too of like,
maybe an EIO, like
he says like the last missing kid was in the 40s, the last suicide was in the 60s. What the fuck? I'm cursed or something like that.
Yeah. But it was good. You got that nice like vibe. I thought it was also weird how like how they would hunt them down in like the electric company vans. That was a little weird, but it was cool.
What the like what are we gonna call them?
The Men in Black,
the government, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, because the only thing that's weird about that to me is it's a small town. There's a lot of electrical vehicles, and presumably that's a real company. It's a small town. There'd probably only be one electrical company.
Yeah.
And like they'd be like, "Hey, Rick, I just saw 3 of your vans driving down the what?"
Yeah, I didn't catch that it was. I thought that it would have been just branded with whatever because isn't that like a fenced off facility have like a name?
It said like whatever the name of that town was, electric. Yeah. I think it was like
Hawkins. Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawkins.
Huh. I didn't catch that, but that is definitely weird. Men in Black. I have a note here. We forgot to say Matthew Modine was the leader of the Men in Black.
It's good.
That guy.
Yes.
He's
the only.
I was like, that's a person, but he hasn't done anything in a while.
And something I made a mental note of. I wanted to look up, but didn't. I was like, did they dye his hair, or is his hair gray now?
Is his hair just that color?
Yeah.
It kind of fit with him.
It looked a little odd though to me. Yeah. But it made him like that villain.
Yeah, he was your villain. He doesn't really say that much. Just kind of is like the force that moves through everything.
He doesn't need to say that much. It's just like shots of them taking a small girl and throwing her into like a thing and making her Papa, no! Yeah. You know he's evil. And it's great.
And like he softens up and like kind of is like down with her again, gives her some love when she like uses her powers to kill people that he like couldn't get her to do before. Yeah. That whole thing was very anime, honestly. Like the leader of like the experiments facility and like the experiments calling that person Papa and all that fucking shit. I was very much like, that's awesome that we're doing that. I wonder, maybe I missed something. So. Because I like marathoned this last night. I said so. Everything is. I haven't like digested a lot of it. But her powers came from what? Something happened to her mother. And she had the powers or something like that.
I thought that her mother was tested with some like drugs or something, and she was born during the trials, and that's what it all came from. But they didn't explain it tremendously, and I don't think they really needed to.
No.
But it was cool. Like she can like travel to like the dark land through the tank and like.
Oh,
and that's
God,
that's what like shatters the world. That like I think she was there without the right tunnel or something.
Yeah, she opened. So like, let's talk about the Shadow World really quick.
Shadow World is dope.
That shit's fucking
and, like,
amazing.
You couldn't have had a better Shadow World in like past years because you didn't have the technology to do things like that. It is our exact world, only the inverse. Where like. It's dark and like fucking decaying and charred and burned, and there's ashes and cinders in the air. It's amazing.
And there's weird like roots, growths, like tentacle things on everything. But like there have been video games that have played around with that. When you like hit a thing, now you're in like the same world but like flipped or whatever the fuck. The first time they do it in like a big way that I noticed was when the chick's in the pool.
In the pool, yeah.
Barb in the pool and stuff like that. Because as that starts to unfold, I was like, wait, what? Oh, no, that's the pool. Wait, what? And then they cut back and forth, just to, like, show you, pool, big pit full of monsters, pool, big pit full of monsters. You get the idea? I was like, oh, shit. I love seeing shit like that in things.
How many days was the boy in there for?
Days, I don't know. Not many, right?
Like a week, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't think the movie took place in longer span than like a week and a half at most.
Right.
The show.
Because there was enough time for like the mom.
They planned a funeral.
Yeah, and like the mom had to go back to the store and buy like another phone again and lights and then hang them. Like that's a day, and then the day she went the first time. There's like the search party day, and then like
there were multiple days because it rained one of those days.
Right. So.
And then they found him. Then there was a funeral. Then there was so like. But regardless, my thing was like I wonder like what was he eating and drinking the whole time he was there to still have the energy to run and like hide? Because the whole time he had to be on the move pretty much or hiding.
I don't know when he got.
And it was cold there.
I don't know what his like status was or what those moments were like from for him. They did a really good job of like you're like hearing his voice and like you don't know. Wait, but what is it like for you or something like that? Where are you now? Like, what do those lights and like static and shit and like radios and phones look like from the Shadow World?
I think it's just it's just him touching them and it touches and like the light turns on. Like his presence is like electromagnetic or whatever.
Yeah, it's like tied in, and from his end it must look like a thing. And he goes, oh shit. I can spell stuff.
Super dope. Like, everything about that was, like, really cool concept.
Him spelling things out with the lights, all that shit, the blinking even, all that stuff.
Definitely want the next season to come out as soon as possible before these kids get older.
Oh, God, that's true.
It, like, ruins it, because they're at that...
Totally
they're all those kids are at that age where they're going to get really big really quickly.
I know. I just thought about... So, do you think for this show they'll do a thing where that was the season 1 cast, and now it's season 2, and it's a similar...
I
like
Googled,
a different thing?
And when I first read it, I interpreted it one way, but I think what they meant was something else. So when I first read it, it was going to... Like, how I took it was, it'll be like American Horror Story, where, like, each season's completely different. But then, like, something in the last bit of this column, how it said it, I'm like, oh, no, I interpreted that wrong completely. He meant he's going to pick up exactly where it ended. Is how I ended my interpretation of what he was saying. And why it wasn't cut and dry? Because I'm vaguely illiterate and it was written a little weird.
Because I'm functionally illiterate and don't like reading things. No, I'd be glad. So a lot of what I liked about this was even just like the directing and the writing and the sound, all those things.
The sound was my favorite part.
Even if you want to take it in like a different direction, like American Horror Story is unique because they use the same cast, and we were just saying that all these kids are going to grow up too fast to do that. But I'd be happy, like, either way, I think, with that shit.
As long as 11 comes back.
Yeah.
Because she could easily come back to a whole different family, a different town, and this thing could start over again.
Yeah. They could have the Shadow Realm open a portal somewhere else and like, manifest differently or whatever.
Well, she gets out, and so does other Beastlies or whatever.
The hole that she left.
Or it could pick up later on with that kid, and now he somehow has the power to see both worlds, and he's like... It could be like, it's like 10 years later, and he's mastered it, and now he can walk between both worlds.
Doing stuff. That would be great, because then he could just get older, and that would be fine.
Yeah. But really, I don't see a lot of things that aren't going to be, like, there's a lot of potential.
No, this was unusually good. Whenever you hear, something's good, I'm always like, yeah, I'm sure it, like, met some of your needs, you dumb normal people, or whatever the fuck. But this was ridiculously good.
Like, my mother liked this. She does not like sci-fi. She doesn't like horror. She likes nothing like that. And she was totally in. She finished it in like a couple days. Everyone I've mentioned it to has finished it.
Yes.
All our bros like watched it and liked it.
That was the whole thing. Is like, I'm fucking tired today because I fucking stayed up all night to watch it because I had to watch it. There's no like, you can't stop watching this. I can't imagine like, I'm on episode 6. I might finish it tonight, maybe tomorrow.
No.
Like, no, it's fucking crazy.
This was one of those things where I'd be like, I gotta call it work.
Sorry, work. All right, I got some tidbits.
Sure,
just trying to
let's
go through and make sure.
Some titty bitties.
So the sister and dollar store Andrew Garfield, that's like the boyfriend and all that stuff. That whole plot.
They got over her being photographed by him really quickly. Like, that wasn't creepy at all.
Yeah, I don't know. She focused in more on the picture that had the monster.
Yeah, like that's
that
important.
Was like the distraction. And, like, we only saw her from the back, but my assumption is that's, like, a movie schmooshing, and, like, we actually saw her naked in, like, the picture. You know what they do? When they do stuff like that, where you see one thing, but they react as if it's some, So I'm assuming there was, like, sexual stuff there. I thought it was, like, it makes sense, but it was still, it, like, felt interesting that, like, there was still some tension between them, but she was with the other guy still. And
Well, and got his camera, like they totally came 180 and they got their back. That kid even like kind of saved the day.
I was just did that feel really unique and cool to you? That felt like House of Wax to me, where it's like, oh shit, someone's doing something, because he's like, no, fuck, I have to go back in there, and then just grabs the bat and like. And just like
the only thing that I didn't like about this, but I did like it in House of Wax, was he didn't come across to me as a tough guy at all.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know if like your average I'm emotionally blah 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 could like wield a bat and destroy a monster in that fashion.
I know, yeah. He was some sort of sportsy guy though, right? He was on a team or something like that.
Was he though? I didn't think he was. I thought his friend was.
His friend definitely was. I thought there was something about practice or something about
because Bad Meat Joe Black could not beat the monster, but did beat the shit out of that guy earlier in the show. Okay. So I was like, But, heat of the moment, lifted cars off babies, whatever.
I mean, I thought it was cool that it happened because it was sort of like a redemption thing for him.
I like that she was the better shot and he wasn't good at it.
Yeah. No, and just the way that he stumbled in and like reacted the way you would like react at first, and she was like, "Get the fuck out! You don't understand!" And this whole like crazy, and he's like, "There's a bear trap, the wall's moving, the lights are going. Like, what are you people doing?" And he's like, trying to like
when they bought the stuff, they're like, "What are you kids doing?" Monster hunting. And we need 2 boxes of bullets. Okay.
Okay.
But in the 80s, who would have thought?
No, if you're not buying a gun, I guess it's fine.
I don't think you can buy bear traps anymore.
Oh, I don't even... Did they buy that bear trap or just had that bear trap?
They bought it.
Okay. I felt like they would have had
Like,
that
right then.
in like the thing in the back or whatever. We got...
No one seemed to notice, though, when they were looking, like, when the investigation brought them back to the kid's house, where he eventually did go missing.
Yeah.
No one mentioned the fact that there was, like, a loaded gun on the ground, like it could have been a thing.
Yeah, so I...
For a cop who, like, did some really good investigative, like shit, he didn't catch that, which I was like, that seems like that should have been obvious.
No, so let's loop back on the... Because the cop, when he goes in there, that's where I thought that was going. I thought he was... Because, like...
Like somebody took him.
That's what's...
He was ready.
That's what's so great about Sheriff Hot Mess, is Sheriff Hot Mess, in the 80s, and, like, I don't know if they still do that in movies today, but once it's time to, like, get it on or whatever, it's like coffee, cigarettes, let's go. What's this on the wall? What's that? What's this angle here? Oh, shit.
Did you
Guys,
notice any
do this,
brain
do
in
that,
those
do
camera
that.
footage?
Yeah.
No.
That fucking shit.
So someone's lying.
So why are you lying to me? And then he like goes like undercover to pump the dude that found the body for information or whatever. I'm like, you're fucking awesome. But when he's in there and like had the flashlight on some noises things or whatever, I thought he was gonna find like a tendril or like something or do and then like come back later and have it be gone, like some weird thing like that. But the other cop just came in and was like, what the hell, man? Come on, we gotta go. And like I'm like, oh, and like nothing ever happened yet. But you would have thought, he was like loading a gun and like the thing came in on him and all that business.
But like, there was the hole in the wall where the monster busted through at that point. But in another part, because he saw it, and in other parts the monster burst through and the hole is totally fixed.
In like most parts, yeah. Or like bulges out and then has no sign of having bulged or whatever.
No, it's interesting.
No, I loved that guy. He had a good arc, good cop coming to his thing or whatever. The whole thing with his daughter. We'll get to the end now. We'll kind of loop in on all that. They're cutting in. They're cutting in the scenes of his daughter in the hospital and the parallels between this kid.
Yeah.
You know? So the ending, a lot happens in the end.
Correct.
Hopefully you remember more than me.
I believe I do.
Because I remember being like, wait, am I confused? What happened there? Because
which part in particular?
So let's just say, like, the sheriff says, we reached an arrangement. And him and Winona Ryder go into the Shadow Realm wearing hazmat suits to find the kid. Meanwhile, the other older kids are fighting in, like, the real world. And the younger kids are in the facility, and this stuff's happening. This, like, whole 3 awesome things are happening at the same time. It's very cool. Then, 11 kills the monster. The monster comes in.
Yes.
They're slingshotting it.
Yeah.
Which was pretty awesome. I actually thought that it was really cool that earlier that kid literally says, we're gonna like do this and blind him, and then when they finally face the monster, it has no eyes to like hit, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. Fuck. But like the very, very, very part of the end, there's 2 major things that happen that are like crazy or whatever. One is the cops leaving the food in that thing. But I know what that thing was. I saw waffles, so I was like, that's for 11.
It's for 11.
But how does, like,
how does he know it likes waffles? How does he know where to leave it? How does anything happen? I don't know.
Okay, so that's not known. That's what I was saying.
No.
I'm not sure if I missed something.
I assume that, like, we'll find a thing that 11's talking to him in his dreams or something.
Okay. Yeah, I thought, like, because, like, he gets in the car with those, like, government people and, like, leaves, and then, so I'm like, oh, he's, like, in touch with them, they're telling him what to do, and they told him, go put food in a box or something, and I'm like, why would they do that? That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also don't even know that it would be in the Shadow World.
What?
The food.
No, I know. Probably not. I don't know what that box is. Okay, so as long as I was not supposed to know what that is, I'm totally fine with it.
That's a random puzzle for the
But I
future.
thought it was cool.
And of course, the other twist is that our boy who was in the Shadow World
forgot
for
to
so
wash my hands and goes to the bathroom.
And then Shadow World blinks in. He vomits a fucking slug out.
He vomits one of those iridescent, crazy slug monsters from the other world.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem happy about it, but it also didn't seem like that was the first slug that he barfed up.
No, it did not.
So I was like, oh shit, is that even him? I guess it is him, but is he infected? Is he being controlled? Is he just infected with this Shadow Realm slug thing? That's amazing.
I don't know. Well, they said that area, like the air there, was toxic. he's been breathing it in for like a week and a half.
Right.
Whether it's toxic in the sense of like, oh, it's ammonia and it's going to be poisonous, or if it's toxic like it is fucking his body up in ways that we don't know about.
Well, that tube was going down his like throat a long way.
Yes, it was.
And I don't know if that was like his life support as well while he was in that part of being caught like that, or if that was just putting eggs in him that are now hatching or something terrifying.
I don't know.
Either way, it's terrifying. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes, yes, it is.
But ending like
That's
that,
so good.
An ending like that makes me so like I need to see more of this exact thing.
And I'm so glad that there is going to be more, and it is popular. I read something like it's like rated like in the top 25 TV shows of all time. It's been out for like a week.
It's so good though.
Oh no, yeah,
it's unstoppably good, so it should be rated.
These
like
things
that.
keep upping the ante, and I'm so glad these Netflix originals are just doing that because shit is getting real.
Because it is like an 8-hour movie, and there's very little. There's very little like fluff. There's very little that I would have said. Well, you could have cut that out and made it like a 4-hour movie or something.
No,
like
it
like,
is solid.
It's very solid, and they have to pick up with the same. If they just end it like that, like it's a Twilight Zone episode. And like we never know what happens to the kid barfing up the slugs and like the family.
Murder.
I'll be very upset, right? You'll be very upset.
Oh man, if 11 doesn't come back, I'm very upset. When she that dude, she's like breaks his arm. Ah! So you're saying a little girl broke your arm? Stop saying it like that.
No, it's fucking. Ugh.
They have powers or something. They can make you pee yourself. You peed yourself.
You peed yourself? Those bullies were great. Oh my god. Yeah, two very like 80s style bullying scenes.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, the bullies are just like, do something stupid, like do the truffle shuffle or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just like bends his arm weird, and they go, okay, and like they leave. We're like bullies now, like set kids on fire or something like that. I don't fucking know.
He's like, my teeth will come in. I have palatitis, manfritis, or whatever. And then I spent the whole episode staring at his mouth to see if he really didn't have teeth.
Yeah. He doesn't have teeth, right? They're just missing because he's a kid.
I don't know.
The other bullying scene that was crazy was the whole like, oh, so you're taking pictures, you're a pervert, huh? Oh yeah. That whole thing where he was the embodiment of that Biff whoever bully dude from every 80s movie ever, and even like the last thing, no, that's here, take it. Oh, and fucking drops his camera. I was like, this is it's Back to the Future.
Me, I was like,
sick.
If he was just a little faster, he could have got it before.
He could have got it, I know, but he was so like, something like that. No, I was so good.
You drop my Nikon, I'm gonna catch it. Fucking Spider-Man.
But they give it back at the end.
They do.
Makes it fine. Yeah.
I just had to. I was trying to think. I'm like, how much would that have cost especially for that dude?
Oh my god.
They don't have money, and like he somehow got that camera, and potentially would never be able to get another one.
I know. I know. Because he didn't even have enough money for a comb.
Yeah.
He was a messed up situation, dude. Oh god. This is even like. One of the darkest things about this whole thing is the single mom and like how the older brother and the younger brother and the mom like interact.
And that dirtbag father.
Well, for part of my childhood, my father was not a dirtbag, but we had like a single mother situation. So just when like the older brother's making the breakfast and they're fighting almost like a like couple, shit like that, I was like, oh fuck, like that's super real and awesome.
When the kid first comes, that opening bit with the kid, like from the moment he sees the monster in the street, and then dips his bike and runs. It is amazing how like cinematically awesome that part is, because like it's like he runs, he gets home and like thinks he's safe. The door's chained, he's locked. He like rubs the dog and like then runs and like looks out the window and you like see it like in the fucking shadow, and then it gets to the door and like just like uses the force and opens the fucking door.
Yeah, so the monster has psychic powers too, I guess. He never really uses them again, right?
I thought it was like magnet electrical powers.
Okay.
Was what I gathered, because like the lights turned off and bullshit happened.
Yeah,
and stuff.
He's like disrupting things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the chase, and then they go into the shed or whatever in the back, and just like the tension and the like behind you and all that shit like that.
Clever girl.
Clever girl. That's one of my only. I don't want to call it a complaint or whatever, but I love things when they're ambiguous. Okay. When like you don't quite know, like, is Winona Ryder crazy? Is it real? I don't know what's going on. He says he saw something. Did he really see something? What did he see? But in the first episode, you just see the creature. You don't get a great look at it yet, but you know there's a creature. It's there. And then like from that point on, you know, even though it's awesome, you don't have that little ambiguity like thing or whatever. You know,
I didn't require
not a deal breaker,
not
at all.
For me, it was so good.
Yeah.
But it was like for me the ambiguity was is he dead? Is he not
The
dead?
kid, yeah.
Is the shadow world a place where spirits can exist for a while? Like what is that about?
Is he just echoing in the electricity around the area where he was murdered by the thing that like eats your essence and
well,
your
yeah,
flesh?
because you have Eleven who's like leading them in kind of a wild goose chase because she knows how dangerous it is. But it's like, well, is she doing that because he's dead? Like, it was nice.
Yeah. There's plenty of ambiguity besides that.
I can't see him. Her battery's just dead. Put her in some salt water.
There's a part related to that when it's like, oh, she's weakened by using her powers. We gotta find something to fuel her up. And then they find like the pudding and that kid without the teeth. It's like, Mike, we found the pudding! And like screams it out. I was like, oh my god, this fucking shit. Because they're still kids, like they're in the middle of like a life and death thing, and they're like, "Shut up! No, you stupid!" And like they're still doing kid stuff.
I knew she hoarded the pudding.
Yeah,
I knew it.
I knew she was lying this whole time. We got plenty of pudding in here and all that stuff. And you're like, I think kids in like stuff today just suddenly snap into being like super soldiers and like we're gonna take care of business. But these kids are like, "Ew, no, stop it! No, I'm going. No, fuck it!" And like doing normal kid type things.
When they would snap at 11, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? The way they would do that was, I was like, why are you so mean to 11?
Why are you so mean? Why are kids so cruel?
It wasn't like he was saying really mean things. It was like how he said. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And he was being a bitch.
Because he was just saying like, what's your problem? But he was saying it like, why are you alive? Why do you even exist? Everything was fine until you showed up, and now all these fucking things are going. What did you do? What did you do? And all that fucking shit. Oh. That's emotional. That's good. That's like acting.
I like when the kid's like, I got this binoculars from Vietnam, this knife also from Vietnam. Just how he said that, I was like, oh, he's pretty good.
No, like no weak link. Usually a thing like this will have a character, or like even like a whole subplot line where you're like, well, I just tolerated that to get to the good parts.
Yeah, I was down for everything.
The whole thing.
He's your best friend. I get it. We're all best friends. I got here in 4th grade. He's been here the whole time. I understand it.
Listen, I get it, but you guys got to talk about it.
Yeah. Shake his hand. You drew first blood.
Yeah. And like tying in the Dungeons and Dragons to like their real life conflict or whatever the fuck.
In the Upside Down, the Netherworld.
But even just saying like, oh, this is like, think about it. He rolled. He tried to fireball, like stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Whereas a kid, that would be like, okay, I have to like we have to talk about this together, and I have to put it in terms that you understand. I'm gonna mention that thing that we all do. Be it sports, be it video games, fantasy shit, comic books. You'd be like, Wolverine wouldn't do that. Like you would do stupid shit like that. Like super awesome. The only other thing is when you actually see the monster, sometimes it looked very like CG and bad. I didn't care, but it did. It had a cool
like face open thing, like a Pan's Labyrinthy looking monster.
Yeah, like certain like Guillermo del Toro-y type monster design.
Which I was into. I thought like it was very cool. Like it was a weird elongated arm monster.
Yeah, like a spindly.
I want to know more about it, and like I don't think we can ever actually know more because no one knows anything about this stuff. Maybe 11 will come back from that world with some knowledge.
Well, and like, are there more? Like you were saying, is that the only?
There kind of have to be more. Like there can never be just one. I have no idea. Right?
How is it eating that deer? Like what's going on?
With its mouth?
It's crazy. But they saw the deer in like the overworld, I thought, and then in like
it dragged it
pulled it through.
Yeah, I remember it like flew out of the shot, it ripped out super fast.
Okay,
and got pulled into that hole.
Okay, so that solves all my. I thought the deer might have been sick because in the shadow world it was getting eaten or something like that.
Oh no.
But I was like, okay, good. Yeah, if you miss one tiny little thing like that, it ruins the whole thing.
You know, like that was one of the things that like proved how strong it was, and like you saw their face freak out because it ripped the deer out of the fucking frame. But yeah, long story short, this show is pretty fucking good. It only takes 8 hours, so you can watch it in one sitting, one glorious sitting.
And you will have
It's called Stranger Things. Look into it. Your friends are. You don't want to be all alone.
Yeah, you're gonna get spoiled soon if you don't.
Just watch it.
There aren't even that many huge spoilers, but you still don't want to.
Just not seeing it is a spoiler.
Yes, you've spoiled yourself by not seeing it already. So, I don't know, 2 thumbs up, A+, 100.
I give it 2 thumbs up, 100 fish heads, whatever the highest recommendation is.
97, whatever the fucks.
Yeah. Till next time, watch this and don't die in a fire.